Hello everyone. First time I'm doing this. Let's see if I can do this right.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up, Michelle.
Okay. I'm gonna add a guest. Can I spell her name right? Oh, she's not a viewer yet. I have to wait till she's a video. Or so I have to wait till she's a... I have to share my broadcast. That's not what I wanted to do. Well, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I don't have any viewers yet. Allow. I don't know. Just trying to see. If any of my friends want to watch me screw this all up. I don't know if my friend's gonna come on. Hello. Oh, you can see me. Can you hear me? Can you talk? Oh my God, is it working?
I think so.
Look at that.
Holy cow. All right.
Oh my God.
I can't believe we did it. You
So,
look fantastic.
All
right.
The learning curve is we got to do it on our phones.
Yeah. Can't use a computer. Okay.
We can't use computers.
Okay. Well, fantastic. It only took us 3 tries to figure that out.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty good.
Well,
That's pretty good.
hey.
How are you?
Huh?
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I just dumped my drink over on the floor, but I'm good. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I have to say I'm a little nervous, but I'm good. I'm good.
Why are you nervous? Because it's election. It was election day yesterday.
No, I guess I'm more nervous about the fact of what we're going to talk about and kind of For the first time, it's like, for the first time for me, like publicly, I am saying everything and I'm not leaving anything
Ugh.
back. So I guess, yeah, it's a little
Same.
nerve-wracking, especially when it's about, myself and how I got to be so crazy right-winged that I
Yeah,
am
same.
today.
Yeah, same.
And
I
I
think
was so,
my heart is pounding. I think I'm most concerned I'm concerned because it's the first time I'm going public too,
okay.
after so many years of being quiet.
I have to say, so I'm going to say this like publicly so that way everybody kind of knows. I know I told you this privately, but I have to say, I am so damn proud of you. And you are one of the reasons why I am able to do what I am doing right now, is because you are able to put things out and be brave, where I like really truly, like, I can't tell you how many videos I made, seriously, that I ended up deleting because I just had a panic attack and couldn't do it. And so I give you
I
kudos and
understand.
thank you
I
for
understand.
being brave enough and doing this with me. So I am very proud of you. And
I understand. I really, really do understand because the fear and it's really, really a scary thing to speak out not only against your abuser, but against an entity and against um, a religious phenomenon or a fanaticism
yeah, yeah.
and
It's almost like, but
it's like a programming
yeah, yeah,
that took place from the time we were born, and it happened not only to us but to everybody around us.
yeah.
And it has shaped not only my life, but it shaped the lives of everybody around me.
Yeah. I think in the one video that I did last time, um, this being growing up, being born into a cult and growing up the way we grew up, it affects my relationships with my aunts and uncles, cousins that I didn't even know existed, um, grandparents that wanted to have a relationship with us and couldn't. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like it just like generational. This has impacted us generationally.
Mm-hmm.
um, it even impacts the way like I raise my children, and how I interact with my nieces and nephews, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's something that really truly, every day it affects my life. Every day those thoughts are there. It's not something that just goes away just because you know I'm no longer in the cult. So
Right. It doesn't just go away. It doesn't just go,
no,
it's, people think, well, you're out of it now.
yeah.
Like, you're out of it. So move on with your life. No,
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
that simple.
here's an example I give is, you know, I quit wearing skirts and I started wearing jeans when I was like 14, like really truly 14, 15, like pretty young compared to everybody else, you know. Um and still into my 20s, every single time I put on a pair of jeans, I would get the thought that would cross my brain, I'm going to hell. You are
I know.
sinning. You're going to hell. And, it wasn't until after I had my babies that I realized that I didn't have those thoughts anymore. And, you know, like, how crazy is that? You know, it's just nutso. It really, truly is. But anyway, um, so
So should we tell people who we are? What our
yeah,
names are?
yeah. So, I was born Shifra Fayes. The spelling of my first name was Shiphrah.
And
And
that's biblical, right?
biblical, yes, Old Testament. Um, yes. And I was born in 82, July of 82. And I think I was born around the time, like in the cult area or whatever era or whatever, where I think the abuse was starting to slow down a tiny, tiny smidge bit. Or it was right on the verge of CPS coming in and people having to start like being careful, I guess, about us, you know, being so public about the abuse because kids were growing up and they were starting to leave and
Well,
kind of stuff.
some of the kidnappings that happened.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right. So
that's right.
um, that's kind of when I was born at that time during the cult. Michelle, you were born, I want to say you're 7, 8 years older than I am?
7 years
7.
older.
Okay. So I think you were one of the very first kids that were born in the cult. So tell me, like, what's your name? How, like, where are you? Like, kind of the same. My biological parents are Randy and Sarah Fayes. My biological mom was going to college when she ran into Rama, um, I guess. But I kind of want to know, before we get into that, like, who Rama is and all that good stuff. So,
Okay. So, my name is Michelle Kemp, Kemp. Um, and I was born in 1975. The cult began in 1973-ish. But it was started by a guy named Rama Chandra Behera. He was born in India, of Hindu parents on April 1st, 1940. And he came to this country in the 1960s to study at Columbia University in New York City. And he supposedly had a some sort of being, like an angel or some kind of shit like that,
okay.
visited him in his apartment and said to him something like, Rama, why do you fight against me? I am Jesus Christ. Follow me and I will be with you all the days of your life, or,
I
something.
remember that.
Paraphrase.
Yes, I remember that phrase really
Paraphrasing. You
well.
remember that now?
Yep, yep, yeah, I remember that.
And so he dropped out of school and began evangelizing, whatever. And around that time as well, his student visa was up, um, or he had to leave the country and come back, that
Okay.
kind of a certain thing. And so instead of going to India and coming back to this country, he went to Jamaica. And that's where he met his wife. And he just, like the story goes, he just boldly walked up to her and says, I'm going to marry you. And he did. Isn't that a cool way to gain citizenship?
Yeah, yeah.
And anyway, he began, his wife is from the St. Charles area in Minnesota.
Okay.
And they were married here in a church. And he started evangelizing
When you say here, you mean Minnesota, right?
in Minnesota, in
Okay.
St. Charles, where she's from.
Okay.
And then he started evangelizing in Wisconsin and grew a small crowd of people. I didn't know that till just recently.
Okay.
But eventually he began spreading his wings into Minnesota, and he came to speak at a church in Stewartville, where my dad was assistant pastor
Okay.
at the, let me see if I get this right, the Restoration Ministry Center.
Okay.
And that's where my dad met him. And now this guy, Rama, was the guy who, like, his message was like fire and brimstone, and was completely different from what the mainstream churches were. It was like the 70s was this Jesus movement coming off of
Yeah.
the potheads of the
Yeah.
1960s.
Yeah.
And that's where my dad met him. And then my dad was working for IBM at the time, and he went back and told people from IBM, and it was just really word of mouth. And so that's how my parents got involved.
Okay.
And that was 1974. And he just, with his charismatic personality, he drew hundreds of followers in.
He
And
was a good
then
talker.
Hmm?
He was a good talker.
He was a very good talker. And then, due to rules like no birth control, because children are such a great blessing, little kids like us were born into unspeakable hardship, poverty, and abuse. And when I talk about abuse, I mean physical, mental, sexual,
Emotional.
emotional,
You name it.
religious.
You name
Yep,
it. It was there. I mean, I really, truly, I don't think there was an abuse that wasn't there.
yep,
Like, I mean, down to food, bathroom breaks. You know, he controlled, I mean, you couldn't go to the gas station without asking permission. You couldn't go get food without asking permission. I mean, everything was permission. I mean, he controlled everything, everything.
yep, yep.
Um, so the
So
abuse.
that's when I grew up. I was born in the summer of 1975. And so, to the best of my knowledge, I was the first child conceived and born once the cult took form and began. I was
Was
the first child.
considered, what is it?
The disciples of the Lord Jesus
Right.
Christ was the name of it, from the 1970s into the 80s. And
Okay.
then once the 90s came around, I think we just stopped admitting we had any name.
Okay.
We just stopped using that, because then the theology started being twisted more towards Judaism. And so the name just stopped being used, and we didn't really use a name.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. That's right. I do remember.
And then in the 90s is when he changed his name from Rama Behera to Samanta Roy.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so Samantha Roy was his second name.
Samanta.
Samantha. Okay. All right. Spell
So,
that. Do you have the spelling to that?
yep, it's Samanta, one word, and then Roy, Roy.
Okay.
It's not Samantha,
Yeah.
it's not Samantha, and it's not Roy. It's Samanta Roy.
Right.
And his family here in the US and members of his family in India all changed it from Behera to Samanta Roy.
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, I get it. That could have been real. That could have been,
Yeah.
something that the family did.
Yeah.
So I don't think Okay, I can jump on the wagon that was up and up. But
Okay.
then
Well,
he flipped the script and then changed his name to Avraham Cohen.
and when did he do that? Because I think I was out of the, I was kicked
Yeah,
out
I
already.
don't know when he did that. It was after way after I was gone. I don't know when that happened.
Okay.
But that's when I couldn't be on the crazy train anymore. And um but why did he pick those names? That's what I want to know. Why did he pick those names? Abraham and Cohen.
I don't know. I'd like to know. It's
Because,
interesting.
like, why didn't he pick Judas or some other low life from the Torah? Why Abraham Cohen? Because
Well,
you know
Abraham.
who Abraham is.
That's Abraham in like the Bible, right?
Right. And who is he?
He's the father of the Jewish people. Like he's the, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
top dog.
I got you. Yeah, yeah. It's all psychological. Like he's just yeah.
Like, and do you know the interpret you know who what Cohen is? Do you know what Cohen is?
No, I don't. I don't know the.
Cohen is the word for priest, and
Uh,
it's and Cohen is like a descendant of Aaron, and Aaron
okay.
is the brother of Moses. And
Okay.
so way back when like the Ark of the Covenant was being consecrated, built and consecrated way back,
Yeah.
um, that's where the Levites came from.
Okay.
They're the ones who, the descendants of that tribe were the
I.
ones that were in charge of all of the holy things in the temple.
Okay.
So he picks that name
Yeah.
for his last name.
Or his last name. Yeah.
The words mockery, sacrilege, blasphemy,
Yeah.
sanctimonious, those are the words that come to mind.
I agree. 100%. 100%.
So
It's
anyway,
yeah.
that's how my parents got roped in. And they had two kids before me. They weren't going
Okay.
to have any more kids. But then, of course, no more, no more kids. So then they had me, and I was
So you
so
had
great. They
two
had some more.
siblings. You had two siblings before your parents got into the cult.
Yeah, they
And
were
see, like that just even
nine, nine
that
and
even
13 years older.
okay. See, and that just blows my brain that even like how do people get roped in this? Like I just don't
I don't know. They were intelligent, and
yeah,
they're intelligent.
yeah. Like that's what well a lot of the people were educated. Like or
Right.
were considered to be educated people. Like
Engineers,
yeah.
teachers.
Yeah. Yeah, it just blows my brain. And I know logically like everything, and I know how good of a talker and all that stuff is, but it still like blows my brain. It's still like is hard for me to grasp
I mean,
in
I
reality.
understand. I mean, we understand brainwashing
Yeah.
because we've had to come out of it ourselves.
Yes.
So, you know, it's hard to explain to people. It's stronger than any prison wall.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very true.
And that's why you and I are speaking now,
Yeah.
because so many people haven't and they won't.
No, and I just feel like I guess it all started like well, I want to say I don't know how many years now. So like it happened in like 2012 when my biological parents got out of the cult when they left. I guess that's when it started for me in this like really crazy. I cannot believe that this actually like I think I buried a lot of it and like just moved on and didn't really like I comprehended it, but I blocked it out too. And when they came back into my life and came knocking on my door to, ask to be back in my life, it really, like, Michelle, the roller coaster it took me on was just amazing. Like, it just blew my brain how crazy it was. I mean, flashbacks, panic attacks, like, just like the little girl all of a sudden has these two people back in her life that honestly, I grieved. I grieved them. I buried them. Like, I emotionally, like, mentally grieved them. They were no longer in my life. I did not think I would ever talk to them again. I grieved them. And then to all of a sudden have them standing at my door saying, "Oh, we're alive and we want to be part of your life," rocked my world in just a crazy way. That I did not expect or understand, really, truly.
Did when they came to you, were they aware that there was amends that had to be made?
Yes, yes, yes. They were very much so. And I would have to say, um, very apologetic, understanding what they did. My biological father, more so than my biological mother, um, who I call Randy and Sarah. I don't call them mom and dad because, like I said, I grieved them. I really, truly, I don't see them as parents anymore. And I know that hurts them. And I know that really is upsetting to them, but that's the truth. And I live my life in the truth. I do not live my life in a lie, and I won't lie and tell them something that is not the truth. Um, so I call them Randy and Sarah. I've been trying to feel out other names, like other names that are not Randy and Sarah, because I know that
Like
bothers them.
other terms of endearment?
Yes, and I
Yeah.
just haven't found anything yet. I will find something that we both can compromise on that. And that's something that I do want to compromise on. I know that that hurts them when I call them by their full name. But my adopted parents are,
You wanna tell quickly why that happened?
yeah. So my basic quick background, like, overhaul of what everything that happened was, um, when I was about 12 years old, I was sent to live with my sister, um, who
Because
was,
you were a horrible girl.
yes, I was a horrible girl. And I was getting mouthy. And um, honestly, right around that time was the same time that my grandfather was messing with me. And so I was acting out big time. And apparently, well, I have a big mouth. I don't keep, my mouth doesn't stay closed. And so I was, yeah, I was being a naughty girl. I was smoking cigarettes. I was um, stealing Playboys from my brother. Uh,
Oh boy.
yeah, yeah,
End of the girls, were ya?
yeah. I got, well, I
You
conned
got
my,
in trouble for having the Playboys that your
yeah,
brothers had?
yeah. Well, I caught him in his bag or whatever, and I was looking at him, and I got caught.
Your brother didn't get caught?
No, because I didn't snitch on him. I didn't say.
Oh.
Yeah. But that's how I started smoking cigarettes, was because I told him I wouldn't tell, but he had to give me cigarettes. And I started smoking Marlboro Reds. That was how that all started. And then I brought the cigarettes to the tree line, you know,
Oh.
and that started. So I was a very bad girl. I started everybody.
God, you were a very bad criminal.
Yes, I was horrible.
You
Yeah.
didn't learn very good from us
No,
older ones.
I didn't. Anyway, so yes, I was naughty. My brother got sent away to India, and I got shipped off to my oldest sister's house. And she was living with this, well, let's just say I despise this person beyond belief, and we'll leave it at that. I won't say anything more about him, but a very abusive. He was a boyfriend slash fiance at that time. I do not believe that they were married at the time. They might have been. I don't know. It's all fuzzy, that there or whatever. Anyway, they put me in public school. I was going to some school in Green Bay. I don't remember. Anyway, I got caught. He came to pick me up from school and just walked into the school, and I was in computer class, and he walked into the computer class that I was in, and he caught me with my hair down and black jeans on.
You
And
filthy heathen, you.
yes. And he turned around, walked out, and I think he was expecting me to get up and walk out with him. Well, I did get up and walk out, but I didn't walk out with him. I went like to my locker, and then like where my locker was, there was a side door, and there was nobody there, and there was no alarm on it or anything like that. And I thought, oh no, there's no way in hell I'm going back. Because honestly, I was prepared to get my ass whooped. And I'm not just talking about, like I was expecting him to knock me around, like fully, like, and I thought, no, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. So I had a little boyfriend at the time. And honestly, I don't even remember the dude's name. I don't. He was shorter than me.
So it was serious.
Yeah. I remember one time he tried wrapping his like arm around me, and I didn't know how to react. So like I put my leg like around him, and I didn't quite do it right, and I tripped him, and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And it was like we were standing in a lunch line or something like that. I remember just like thinking, oh, so embarrassed, like, but he was like, anyway. So I went to like his house, and then like a couple of friends that I had or whatever went to their house, hung out for about 2 weeks. I think I escaped. I think it was about 2 weeks. Maybe it might have been.
At 12.
Yeah, I was right around 12, 13 years old. I celebrated my 14th birthday. I was kicked out before my 14th birthday. So it was right around that time.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, I might have been 13. I know there was snow on the ground, so I might have been 13. I don't remember. I might have been moved into her house when I was 12, that age, right around that time or whatever. Anyway, I was over at a girl's house, a friend of mine's house or whatever, and she got into an argument with her parents, and her parents kicked me out.
Oh.
Told me I had to leave, and that was 2:00 in the morning. Well, that was a pretty bad part of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And a cop saw me, picked me up, and took me to the police station, tried to get me to answer a bunch of questions. I refused to answer anything. They pretty much had to like fingerprint me to get my name and everything. And they, of course, called my sister and her whatever. And they came to the police station to pick me up. I refused to go with them because I was still really afraid of him, and I wanted nothing to do with him. And so I refused to go and made my biological father have to come pick me up. Not a word was spoken. I walked in the door. My biological mother told me I needed to call Rama. I called Rama. I was told at that point in time that I had to stand up and apologize for running away and being the horrible human being that I was.
Like
And
in front of the congregation.
in front of the whole congregation. And I had to do it Sunday morning in front of everybody. And he pretty much told me what I had to like say. I think he's Schifferoony. Is that what he? No. He used to call me something like that. Anyway, I, quite frankly, had a wonderful, fantastic time when I ran away. I was not sorry that I ran away. And well, at that time, that, we believed that the earth was going to open up and there was a big, huge, fiery pit of hell underneath us, and we were going to get swallowed up and eaten or burned alive for eternity. Not just burned alive for but eternity. We were going to be there for eternity. And, I just couldn't stand up and lie. And I told my biological mother that I couldn't lie, that I couldn't do it. And she told me, well, you know what that means? And I said, yes, I know what that means. And well, that meant that I was no longer welcomed in the house and that I had to move out. So at the age of 13 years old, I was living on the streets, sleeping on the park benches in Shawano County Park. Ended up meeting some kids down at the park. Their mom was just kind of going through a divorce. Not kind of, she was just going through a divorce, and she was living on her own, and she needed a babysitter. And well, I needed some place to live, and I, of course, didn't tell her anything. She just thought I was some little Amish girl, my little dresses, my hair up, and I would babysit. And so I had a place to sleep, food to eat. And that went on for a little while, until she finally kind of discovered, what truly was going on. And then, that is kind of how I got kicked out. And that's how I ended up being adopted by another family and, kind of living a semi-normal life in my high school years.
So you were kind of lucky that you
Yes.
had
Yes.
at least
Yes.
some, you got
Normal.
you got to enter the adult world
Yes.
with some sort of guidance.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's why it shocked me so bad when Randy and Sarah came back into my life, how badly it affected me and how badly all of that stuff came thrown back up. And I mean, things that I buried that I just no longer thought about or anything were just at the forefront. I mean, I was having nightmares. I don't even call them nightmares. I don't someone would say something to me and it was almost like I would get sucked back into a memory, and I'd be at work working.
That's a flashback.
And I would just break out and I can't tell. I would break down at work, just bawling for no reason whatsoever, really, truly. And it would just because it got me, and I would just get thrown back into this, and it wasn't necessarily the memory itself was horrible. It was the feelings that remembering the feelings that came along with it that it would devastate me. And it would just, and that happened for a couple of years after they came into the picture. And I would say now in the last 2 or 3 years, it's finally cooled down where I feel like I can talk about it and I'm not getting that anxiety. But I am going to say the first live that I did, my rant that I did, I threw up after. I was pretty, so I'm not with you on today. I'm pretty good. I'm not that's not happening. And I'm actually very happy with how long we've been on. I don't even know how long we've been on. How long have we been on?
I don't know. There's no timer.
No, I don't see any timer. But anyway, yeah, so I'm really happy with how I'm doing now, because I've made tons of videos, like I said, and I haven't been able to post them because that overwhelming feeling comes up, and I just feel just dirty, sick, gross, like I'm doing something really bad, and I know it's all
Why do you think you have that feeling?
I think because not everybody is going to agree with what I'm doing, and not everybody is going to be happy with what I'm doing, and I'm telling some
And who's everybody?
Rama people.
So the people that are still in the cult.
People that are still in the cult. Well, even the people that are out of the cult that haven't quite, I call them fencers. That, you know, I have a relationship with, that I absolutely love and adore, and I don't want to ruin those relationships, but with me speaking out about the truth, it will most likely ruin our relationship because of the fact that they truly are not out of that brainwashing thing, and it will chase them away. So I'm sad about that, and I know that that's going to happen, and I know that there's going to be, you know, I tell my kids all the time, there are pros and cons to everything you do in life, every single thing, down to taking a poop. There's pros and cons to even that. And so
That's the same for me. People, I've been asked this question a lot. Like, you know, why are you coming forward now? Why didn't you do it years ago? And my answer is, because years ago I was still brainwashed.
yeah, it's like layers.
I'd left the cult when my body was 18.
Yeah.
However, I was still programmed, and I was deathly scared of the consequences of speaking out.
Yeah.
Plus, I had so many blocks and so many areas of my childhood that I couldn't recall. And I wouldn't allow myself to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for, I don't know, 30 years, I never once thought about it. I kept myself busy. That was my drug of choice. Stay
Yeah.
busy.
Stay busy. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Work hard.
I
Impress
did not,
people.
if anybody asked me, I denied it. Denied it, denied it, denied it, denied it, because I was still brainwashed. And um but I think underlying all of that is this terrific fear of the relationships you're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that he used against us in the cult. So it's one
But
of our
it's a
biggest
real
fears.
fear. But
Yes,
it's a real fear
they do.
because even in my preparation for doing this, I had to prepare myself for the real burden and the real heartbreak and betrayal that was going to befall me.
Yep.
That my own family would not support me.
Yeah.
Because my story is very, very different than even my siblings' story.
Isn't that amazing how we all grew up in the same place, but our perceptions of what happened are different?
Yeah.
And our I just find that so fascinating. Even when I talk amongst my biological siblings and I tell, you know, like, this is what I remember, or, you know, this happened, and they're like, I don't remember it that way. I don't remember
Yeah.
that's how it happened. And it's like, it's just amazing how that can happen, and how, I mean, even down to the point of, like, you know, if you were like the outcast that weekend, your perception
Yeah.
of that weekend is totally different than the person who was considered the good one, or, you know.
Or
You know,
it can overshadow
yes.
a chunk of your life.
Yes.
Just that incident can overshadow a chunk of your
Chunk of-
life then.
yes. Yes. And how, like, I always say this, and I even in the cult there was hierarchy,
Mm-hmm.
and even in the cult there were people who were considered untouchables or lower than.
Hello.
Yep, yeah. And I was just
Hello.
going to say, Michelle, you were one of them. I remember you being a little girl and being told you were that you were like an untouchable, and us spitting on you because
Yep.
we were told that you were untouchable, like. So
I'm
he
shaking as you
used,
guys. I'm shaking.
yeah,
Can you see my camera shaking?
yeah, yeah.
I'm shaking as you're saying
I
that.
have my hand against my leg, so I can't do that. I thought about getting my camera holder thing, so I couldn't do that. But yeah, I mean, like and he used friends, family. He broke family up to keep us. I mean, that's how he kept control, was keeping us pitted against one another. Make you get close with somebody, and then, oh, they're
Yep.
close, and he would see it, and then he would tear you apart, make you tattle on one another. And there was never any "I got your back" kind of thing
Never.
ever there.
Never. You could not trust a single person.
No, you couldn't. And that is something that I am so grateful and thankful and just truly immensely that I was able to have that with my mom and dad, and with
Yeah.
siblings, um, my adopted siblings. And, we had each other's back. I mean, my sister Whitney and I fought a lot, like a
Yeah.
lot. Um, but she taught me truly how to have somebody's back, because she beat the crap out of anybody who came in after, my little siblings. I mean, my brother Max, that's another whole story too. But anyway, like, really, truly, I learned that, or I should say, I think I had a strong protective instinct to begin with, and moving having been moved in with them and experiencing it firsthand, or what it was, just like impacted my initial innate instincts. You understand what I'm saying? Because I think I was one of the people that were, okay, so Rama used to say this to me all the time, all the time. Your sins are going to be
Oh my
tenfold,
gosh.
because you are more aware of what is wrong and right than anybody else. And I remember him telling me this at 5 and 6 years old. So anytime anything happened, I made sure I did the right thing, because I did not want my sins to be tenfold. And I did not want to go to that fiery burning, like, pit of hell, like, seriously. And the first time I did something wrong and I didn't go to the fiery burning pit of hell, like, I was just blown away. Like, I will never forget that.
Yeah, well, you got kicked out.
Yeah, like, I'll never forget putting, I think it was a basketball that we were playing with, that we met the girl across the street from where we lived, and she was, of course, a heathen girl. Hi, Nikki. I love you, Nikki. We used to steal her clothes, or not steal them. She used to give us her clothes to, like, wear and stuff, and then we would hide them at our house, and then they'd get found and burnt, and because they were heathens, they weren't supposed to be wearing them or whatever. So her clothes, Nikki had so many clothes that got burnt and thrown away, toys that got like destroyed, because we
Oh,
would play with
those
them in our
those
house. And
those poor people on the outside. They always are trying to be our friends and their stuff all got burnt.
burnt, yes, yes. Um, Yes, yeah. It was, yeah, crazy. But
Well,
where I
had
was,
did you remember, you wouldn't remember because you weren't born yet, but you remember that when I was like 5, did you hear the story that I was left in Chano by myself?
Yes, I did hear that. I don't remember who it was that has told me, but since you're the one that got left, why don't you tell me? Because I'd like to hear it.
So when I was 5, Rama decided it was good for my soul that I be left in Chano
Because our souls lie without us knowing it.
without my family. I was left on the compound with no family members. 5. Kindergarten. And I lived on the compound, and random other people who lived there were semi in charge of me. And, you know, I slept on a sleeping bag that was my brother's because I didn't have my own, so I had to take my brother's. No pillow. I had my clothes in a suitcase. And
Well,
that
and
was,
beds. You
no,
slept
we didn't have beds.
It was a cement floor.
No, I slept back in the Levites room,
Okay. All right. All right.
and that was carpeted.
Okay. All right.
Um,
So you had carpeting.
it was carpeting, yeah.
Okay.
And across from me was where Rama's brothers stayed, and they had a bunk bed. But that was the beginning of what has overshadowed my entire life, and that is the beginning of when I can look back, or when I can think back to my earliest memories, that's what I go to. And that's where all of my abuse, well, most of my abuses started. I have had this recurring like nightmare or like a flashback where I'm screaming, or this girl is screaming. I always have this faceless little girl like screaming, and her hands are like stretched out for her parents. I just know that it's this child's parents screaming at the top of her lungs, and everybody around is laughing. And I only can feel the feeling inside of me, and it's just sheer like terror. And um I have to, like, I don't know, I have to calm myself and like stop my racing thoughts
Panic.
and whatever.
Full blown panic.
um I never knew if that was something that happened to me because I could never recall it. And I see that Lee is watching right now, but I was talking to him one day, and he just out of the blue, like, mentioned a story that he was there for when I was like 3, where Rama would just torment me, laughingly saying, your parents are just gonna leave and leave you here. When I was 3, and just I would assume this little body crumple to the floor and just, I don't know, have a fit or start sobbing.
Do you
And
think he just enjoyed doing that?
he
Like,
did, because Lee said he would just laugh. He said he said, it was told to me that Rama just loved to torment me for his enjoyment. So I don't recall that. So in my thoughts and in my brain, I don't recall that incident.
yeah,
But internally
yeah.
and emotionally,
You feel,
or somehow, my body remembers that.
yeah.
So so many years later, I'm approaching 50, and my body recalls the emotions so much that it can give me a panic attack.
Yeah. Yeah. That's honestly, that's what was happening.
And
Yeah.
then people around me have the gall to say I'm unstable,
I,
to say that I'm full of shit, or I'm making this up, or that I should remain quiet.
yep.
This started when I was small, and I have suffered all these years.
We're not quiet anymore, Michelle. We're not going to be quiet.
This is why I am no longer going to be quiet, because I am finally regaining my memories.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, that's literally truly what happened when, like, my biological parents came, when Randy and Sarah came back into my life. That is really truly what happened. And it was astonishing and shocking to me. The vivid memories that, like, came back. Yeah, Kaya, I know. That came back, that I really truly had just blocked out, that, and talking, I mean, like, I remember one memory, when they first came back into, I had like a couple of very vivid memories that just kept popping up. And honestly, it was so horrible that I didn't think it was real. Like, I truly didn't think that people could do something like that. And that happened. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with my brother that he confirmed that he saw it. He was there when it happened, the whole shebang. And I mean, like, I just, it just blows my brain that things like that could happen.
But
And
it's validating at the same time.
yes, but shocking all over again. And it's almost like you have to wrap your brain around that you experienced that
Mm-hmm.
you went through that, and that in a lot of ways I had to find a way to, like, forgive myself for, and I was a kid, like, I wasn't even responsible for any of this crap, and I still felt guilty for all the horrible things that I did, all the memories that came back. Like, Michelle, I remember, like, spitting on other kids. I remember beating other kids up. I mean, there were, like, good things too, but I remember doing really bad things to, like, kids because we were told to. People. I remember a man getting beat to the pulp,
Mm-hmm.
like crazy beat to the pulp with 2x4s, and nobody did anything about it, said anything about it, like, and I was part of that. And yes, I know logically I was a little girl. Yes, I know logically that it was my responsibility to take care of that. And yes, logically I know all of that stuff, but emotionally and mentally, I have to, like, literally forgive myself for being part of that, or, like, witnessing that and not standing up and saying something, because I remember as a little girl knowing that that was wrong and I didn't say anything. I remember that. And I remember thinking, that's wrong. That's bad. That's not good. He should go, like this is bad. And I didn't say anything. I kept my mouth shut. And I know I was only like 7, 8, 9 years old, but it doesn't matter. Like, still to this day, I still feel guilty about it. I feel guilty about letting my sister, um, that I had gotten custody of, go back to, like, the other side of the family. I just kind of gave up because, like, I
Yeah.
just, like, betrayed so bad. Like, I just, oh,
I
and
think guilt was so heaped on us though that it became part of our identities.
yes, yes. Well,
Because
anything bad that happened, it was our fault because we did something wrong.
we sinned.
Yeah, we sinned. So because I sinned, that bad thing happened, or because I
Or A
My
child, a
mother broke
child
her
got
ankle.
sick.
Yes,
A child got sick. It was
yes,
because of the parents,
sin.
you know.
Yes. Well, I was told that I was one of the reasons why Sarah broke her ankle when she fell down the hill. I was a bad girl. I was naughty.
Not at all because there were no steps.
I know. It had nothing to do with the fact that she was carrying 3 bags and a baby. You know, and walking down a big, huge, steep hill that had no pathway or whatever. It was rock and dirt. Like that had nothing to do with it. It was because I was walking beside her, and I was bad, and
I
that's
have
why.
a question for you too. Do
Which
you feel worried about your safety now that you've decided you're coming forward publicly?
I was worried about that before I had that conversation with my family and my husband. Um, and I am not worried about that anymore because, I mean, even work, I've taken precautions to say, hey, just so you know, I'm working on this. I dropped word to the right people even there about, me starting this and me doing this. And, I didn't tell them fully, but they're aware of my background and they're aware of all of it. So I have to say at the very beginning, um, I think that that was one of the reasons why I did not want to do it or I kept having the panic attacks at the very beginning was because I have a good life right now. I have a wonderful family. My husband is amazing, and I am not wanting to mess this up at all. And I was really worried about that this would bring on a bunch of crap and it would really, and I didn't want that for my family. Um, so after having that conversation with my husband and, even my kids, um, no, I'm not worried about that anymore. But that is a very real fear. And it's not a joke. It's real. I've seen them come after people. I know other people who have been hurt. Um, so that's not
Well,
a,
they're
that's
they
very real.
I
Um,
know they have slashed mothers' tires and kidnapped the children right from the daycare. They they will do anything to shut you up.
Quiet, yes.
And I've been threatened. So it's a very real fear for me.
Yes.
And I do not feel safe. And um, I
You've taken,
knew that.
right?
I knew that going into this, that it was a very real thing. And so, yes, I've taken very big precautions. Um, but that is why many, many, many people do not speak up.
Yeah.
And that is why people don't tell their stories, and that's why people hide, and that's why abuse continues, and that is why this cult remains. This is why, because people are scared.
Yeah.
And
And I'm
I
not,
am of the I am right now of the belief that if we don't, who's going to?
yeah.
This
That's
guy is what, and Rama's what, 82? And my goal is that he at least knows that this little girl who he beat so badly when she was little, I want him to at least know before he dies that he did not break her.
no. Yep. Yes. Yes. That is exactly, yes. And my other thing is, on top of that, my other thing is I don't want that man to die and be buried some honorable, like, burial. I want people to really truly know who he is and what he did. And That's
Remember when he used to say he wants to piss on somebody's grave? Remember he used to talk about pissing on people's graves?
no, I don't remember that, but I don't doubt it. I
Oh
don't.
my
I don't
gosh.
remember.
That's what I want to do. I want to piss on his grave.
Hey, we will make sure you know what?
We will find him.
We will do that. That is something that we need to do.
We will find him.
All right, girly. I think this has been fantastic.
Yeah.
But I want to do the history a little bit more in detail. So how about if we schedule another one of these? Because this was fabulous. I really, truly, I'm hanging out in my living room talking to my girlfriend, but on live so everybody can see. Fantastic. I kind of liking this.
Well, thanks for watching, whoever watched.
Yeah.
I
hope this works. I hope that when we end or whatever, that it will go and be
I
there.
hope people
But
people learned something.
Yeah, if this didn't work, it was good therapy for me.
Yeah, people can share it if they want.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
don't give a fuck. Okay.
I
Good to see
appreciate
you.
you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Love you.
Love you
Talk
too.
to you later.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.